Hi friends, I hope everybody is doing great. So some weeks I have to admit are easier than others. Some weeks it just kind of rolls off my tongue and I have all the ideas bouncing around my head and they just smoothly come out. This week I didn't really quite know what I wanted to say, and I really didn't know how I was going to start saying what I didn't know what I was going to say. So God always helps us when you do his work. Siyata Deshmaya, God stepped in. And just as I was about to stick a sign on my door that says, do not call, do not ring, and do not disturb recording in session, just before that point, I get a ring in the door and it's an Amazon delivery. And I'm thinking, okay, I was a good girl this week. I didn't go crazy, so I didn't order anything. I didn't remember ordering anything. And I opened it up and I got a gift from somebody. And that was it. All the ideas, they knew where they were going. The gift is a deck of cards by Louise Hay. Louise Hay is like one of these self-help gurus who, I remember in some weak moments in my life before I turned exclusively to the Torah for all types of help, I used to listen to her, and she really makes you feel good about yourself and try and put the past to bed and just move forward. And she has all these affirmations, which I never did because, it was too embarrassing and I'm shy even to talk to myself in the mirror. Like, oh, I am good, I am great. You see, I can't even do it now. It's like, can't. In any case, but I like her and I like the way she does things. In any case, this deck of cards is called How to Love Yourself Cards. And I'm thinking, wow, this is completely opposite of what I wanted to speak about. And it's perfect because maybe it is, maybe it's not, but it fits right in. How to Love Yourself Cards. My article that I posted, which I never have a problem when I'm writing, never a lack of words, maybe too many, and I have to try and rein them in, was about being egocentric, narcissist, and that we live in a generation where nobody cares about anybody else. Your problems, well, you have problems, but they're not my problems. Because my life is so much more important than your life, and I am just so much superior to you that whatever you're feeling can't even come close to what I'm going through. Because we're a bunch of narcissists, we really are. And then I get these cards and I'm thinking, how to love yourself cards? Okay, that is not a problem that we have in today's age. And then I was thinking, yes, it is. It is a problem. Because the self-help market has never been better. In an age where all we do is cater to our own needs and insecurities and physical pleasure, it's really all about us. So we spend so much time, me, myself, and I, all of us, in one effort to just service our own well-being, we are more insecure and unhappier than ever. We don't love the self, because if we did, Tony Robbins and all these other gurus wouldn't be making billions of dollars off of us, because we'd be like, you know what, don't tell me what to do, I'm happy, I'll tell you what to do. How to love yourself. How do you love yourself? Is to start looking at other people and realize that we are part of a greater whole. It ties in so perfectly to this week's parasha. We learn in this week's parasha about the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah, they were so successful. The land and everything was so verdant and plentiful and producing. It was like being in Fantasy Island. It was an amazing, amazing land. Everything they wanted, they had. En plus, and surplus. But they begrudged everybody else. If people would give charity, if they would be kind to a stranger, if they would do anything nice and good and honest and righteous, they would be tortured, killed. You couldn't do that in Sodom. If you hosted a guest, if the bed was bigger than the guest, they would stretch the guest. If the bed was too small, they would cut off their feet. They had no compassion, no mercy. They were cruel, they were evil, and that's why God had to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. They had no compassion. There was a girl who fed a hungry person bread. She hid it inside of a pitcher. And when they discovered that she fed somebody who was hungry, they slathered her with honey, tied her up, and she was attacked by the bees, and it was her cry that reached and pierced the heavens. And then God heard the cries, and he decided to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. No heart, no soul, no feelings for anybody else but themselves. And then there's Abraham. God, we learn when he created the world, it said, let us make man. And people would say, well, why us? Does that mean that there's other gods? And it was God consulting with the angels, because God taught us all a lesson about humility, that when you're a big shot and you're the boss and you're the manager and you're important, still consult with your subordinates. Still consult with those under you and let them know what's going on, what's happening. Let us make man. So when God was about to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, he went and he consulted with Abraham, and he told him what he was about to do. Abraham, as humble as he was, he said, I am just nothing but dust and ashes, but God, if there are 50 good men in Sodom, are you still going to destroy it? And God said, no, if we can find 50 righteous men, I won't destroy it. So Abraham, already, he's in negotiations with God. He says, okay, well, what if there's 45 good men? He slowly whittles down the number until they settle on, if there are 10 good men in Sodom, God will not destroy it. And that made Abraham a great man. Because when we remember a few weeks ago when God was set to destroy the world with a flood, and he told Noah to build an ark, and he did, and he saved his family, and he saved the animals, but he did not plead for mankind. He didn't intercede on their behalf and say to God, please, we're weak, we're human, give us another chance. He didn't beg for their lives. He saved himself and his family. Abraham stepped in. He had a heart for his neighbor. He had a heart for other people. They were not part of his story. He would have survived. Why would he care? And they were very bad, evil people there. He should have been happy to say, you know what? Get rid of them all. He pleaded on their behalf. And even Abraham wasn't good enough compared to Moses. Because when God told Moses, I'm going to destroy the Israelites for building the golden calf, and I'll make a whole new nation for you, Moses said, if you destroy these people, then take my name out of your book. Moses, the most humble man in history, he didn't need a bestseller where his name was on the front title. The 5 books of Moses. He didn't need that. He didn't want it. He pleaded on our behalf for Am Yisrael. If you get rid of them, then blot my name out of your book. And who do we see that God used as his servant to deliver his word, the instruction manual for all mankind that preserves the world and is the raison d'être for the world? Moses, because he was the most humble person on the world. When you insert yourself, your ego, me, myself, I, arrogant, it's all about me, I'm so proud. God doesn't want anything to do with you. The Talmud teaches us where someone is arrogant, God will have to vacate himself, because arrogance and God cannot reside in the same place. The Talmud also teaches us that a person that walks with a proud posture for 4 amot, it's a very short measurement, walking proud, it's considered like a rasha. Who are you to walk proud? When you know the God that walks with you, you would walk so humble. It's like walking with the king. You're walking with the king. You're going to walk like this. You're going to be like, yes, yes, yes. Subservient, humble, behaving like a mensch, not thinking that you're God himself. So God cannot be with us. And that's why we need these cards. How to love ourselves. How can you love yourself if God is not inside of you? The only valuable part of our life, of us, is the soul of God that rests inside of us. When we vacate him, because it's all about me, myself, and I, and if it is me, myself, and I, you can be sure you are arrogant, because you value yourself more than the next guy, and that makes you arrogant. I'm not telling anybody to be a fool. And I'm not telling anybody to be a shmata, if you know what it is. But I'm also telling you that this world does not revolve around you. Look at the state of the world we're in now. Why is it so fractured? Why is it falling apart? Why do we have one problem after another? Because we are doing something wrong. Obviously, we're doing something wrong. We are so busy trying to love ourselves and cater to ourselves that we forget that there is a partnership in this world between us and God and between us and our fellow man. So I think that the point of this parasha should be really to take the lessons of Sodom and Gomorrah and turn them on their head. Do the complete opposite. Where they failed to be kind and charitable and accepting and hospitable, take all those things and throw them out the door and be kind and warm and charitable and hospitable and be a mensch and know that it's not all about you all the time. Yes, we have to preserve ourselves and we have to take care of ourselves and we have to do all those things that make us well and strong. For what? To serve Hashem and our fellow man. What was Cain's big sin? He killed his brother, yes. But then he said, what? Am I my brother's keeper? Do I have any responsibility toward him? And the answer is yes. We have a responsibility toward our sisters and our brothers and our cousins, not to turn a blind eye, not to have a hardened heart. Who do we read about in the Bible that is the worst? We just spoke about Moses being the best, and who was like the worst was Pharaoh, because he hardened his heart. When you stop seeing the humanity in another person, you stop seeing it in yourself. Because when you callous yourself, you don't really have true feelings for yourself. You just become a numb, dull, vacant human being who lives from one meal to the next, from one workout to the next, from one gratification to the next, without any real satisfaction, without any real depth, without any real purpose. Everything we do in this world makes a difference. Every action that you take makes a difference. So don't turn a blind eye. And it's interesting that I use the phrase don't turn a blind eye, because I'm just thinking now about this week's parasha. When Lot, Abraham's nephew, was in Sodom and Gomorrah, and the angels came to destroy the town, but he didn't know they were angels, and he welcomed them into his home. And the people of Sodom found out that he welcomed them, and they pounded on his door. Give us those people, because they wanted to have sexual relations with them. They were depraved, disgusting, gross. And Lot, as low as he became because he lived there, because his environment influenced him, he still had the teachings of Abraham inside of him. And he didn't give up his guests. But those who were pounding on the door and that they wanted to invade his home and do whatever they wanted to do with the guests, the angel struck them blind. Open your eyes to the suffering of your people, of your nation, of your neighbor, of your family, of all mankind. Be the best that you can be. Be a head above the rest. Like I said in my article this week, we're not a generation of giraffes. Nobody will stick their neck out for each other. But at the end of the day, you know that a giraffe is a kosher animal, and the only reason people don't eat giraffe, at least religious Jews, is because we lost the knowledge of how to slaughter it in a kosher manner. But that being said, stick your neck out for somebody else. Because when you defy your own nature, which is me, when you defy your own nature, then God will defy reality for you. What you give up because you're fighting your internal mechanisms of who you are, God will acknowledge that, and it will come back upon you. He will shake up all of reality to serve you and to help you, because an eye for an eye, as they say, is not just a rule that applies between man and man. It applies even in more precise measure between us and God. Midah keneged midah. What you do will come back to you. we are so serving ourselves and trying to love ourselves that we need cards like this, how to love ourselves more than ever. Because the self is not just inside of us, it surrounds us. It's the people in our lives, in our community. So on that note, I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.